Afternoon, everybody. We are continuing on our series with the author Michelle Pulford, Climbing into Eternity, My Descent into Hell and Flight to Heaven. And Michelle is walking us through her story. And I was sharing how we met on Prayer Mountain. You were praying for one night, and how I shared with her how my husband had committed suicide. And she said she had ended up in hell, but not because she committed suicide. It's because she hadn't made Jesus the Lord of her life. And she started sharing bits about her story. And I said, when you got your book, I want to read it. And I read it, and it was so powerful to think what she went through. And the Lord sort of sent her back so she could share her story to warn people what lies ahead. But she went to hell, and she wasn't to write her story straight away. Then she died later and went to heaven. And when she came back, she had to start writing a story of heaven, because the Lord said to her, you can't share about hell until you share about heaven to know what is to come. So she went to both places to come back to write her story. And that was at 40. Now she's 56. So God's timing is perfect for everything. And we're just sharing a little bit about her walk and where it started from, and just taking pieces out of her book and answering questions that people have asked over the years. And I want to go to chapter 10 in her book about being in isolation. And she said, she puts it down as committed. She was in isolation, and she had inflicted self-harm on herself with anorexia, and she was at a point where it was so detrimental to her health that she had to be isolated to put on weight. And I want to read a little bit about it out of chapter 10. And Michelle was placed in isolation in a psychiatric ward as a punishment and a reward system for her anorexia. She had to put on weight. She had to reach 23 kilos. Now, 23 kilos is nothing, and she had to reach that. And that is why they would give her punishment or reward. Punish and take things away if she didn't put on weight, and reward her if she did. If she did not put on weight, her belongings would be taken away, her clothes, her toiletries, all her personal things, and everything had been taken away because she hadn't put on weight. So everything that she had that belonged to her had been taken away because she hadn't put on weight. And apart from her Bible, so she had a Bible, but she didn't know what to do with it. So there's a Bible left with her, but she actually didn't even know what to do with the Bible. And that was the only thing that she was left with. And she would ask the cleaner, when the cleaner came in, for a cleaning liquid to wash her body, and she would use the cleaning liquid to wash herself, and it would cause cracking and bleeding on her skin. And in her mind, she would conjure up plots. She felt like the walls were closing in on her, and I think that's how a lot of us can feel now with the isolation, that they feel like the walls are closing in on them. And she said here, no one was listening to her screams, and it made her feel rejected and neglected and alone. She cried out, why am I alive? Why? But nobody answered her call. And there's so much in this, which I'm not going to share all of it, because she is going to start sharing a little bit how she felt and how she was there. And she felt alone and rejected, that nobody heard her cries. And it was supposed to be there to help her, but it actually didn't help her. And so she's going to be sharing on our next session a little bit about being in isolation and what she went through. And we are just bringing this up because this is a reality of life, that people go through. People commit suicide, people self-harm, people cause themselves to starve, anorexia, bulimia. All these things are realities. They're put in isolation. They go to our psychiatric wards. They go through terrible, terrible things. And we want to try and, with Michelle's walk and what she's learned and how she is in the Lord now, to help people get out of it and for deliverance and for to be set free. And I really believe through her sharing her book and little bits about her book, how she's going to be able to help people with her story in their story. And I just wanted to share that on this lovely afternoon. And we'll catch up with you again soon. God bless.